The other end, Kelly Rudy. He's won 2 and lost none against the Vancouver Canucks. 3-2 in the 5 previous games that he has played in the playoffs. This will be his 70th playoff game in his career. The referee is Dan Maruelli. The linesman, Ray Scampanello and Swede Knox. The alternate official is Rob Schick, and the off-ice officials are from San Jose. You look down at the center face-off spot as we get set for the opening face-off, and the Kings win the draw. Conacher to Charlie Huddy. Huddy checked hard by Robert Dirk, but he drives it into the Vancouver zone. Here's Conacher. Conacher checked by Babbage along the boards. Now it comes back to Conacher, Vancouver zone. He throws it in. Here's Ronning with it. Ronning's pass held in, kicked in by Charlie Huddy, but the Canucks bring it to center ice. Pass to the King line, broken up there, and Mark Hardy sends it down into the Vancouver zone. The game just underway here at the Great Western Forum. Pass out to center ice, broken up by Charlie Huddy. He gets hit again. And the way Vancouver's coming out, Jim Fox, it looks like they're going to take the body today.
Certainly are. They're going to slow it down a little bit. I think one thing very important, especially when the Kings have players like Reichel on the ice, the Canucks forwards are going to hold him up, prevent him from getting in on the forecheck.
Here's Alex Jidnick, shooting, save made, rebound right up the middle, but taken by Vancouver's Trevor Linden. Jidnick got the puck from Robitaille at the left point and got a good shot. Here's Luke Robitaille with it now. 63 goals in the regular season, still waiting to get untracked in the playoffs. Here's Sandstrom, his shot just wide to the right side. Sandstrom kind of looking to his left and shot back the other way and just missed putting it in. Here's Pavel Bure. Bure, right side. Bure shoots, saved by Kelly Rudy. Staying right with him was Alex Jidnick. Puck taken by the Kings. Here's Wayne Gretzky. Gretzky across the line, shoots, and a glove save by McLean. Gretzky right now is tied with Doug Gilmour for the playoff point lead with 17. Gilmour had 2 points today. Here's Robitaille, shoots, and it's wide and off the glass. Out to the blue line, taken there by Tim Hunter. Hunter for Vancouver to center ice now. Gives it ahead to Semenoff. His shot knocked away by Kelly Rudy. No score first period. Semenoff to Bure behind the net. Here's Pavel Bure. Checked in the corner now by Tim Waters. Bure still with it. Now he's past the middle. Semenoff shoots, and a save by Kelly Rudy. Puck comes up to the right side of Jyrki Lume. No score first period. Lume's pass along the boards to Semenoff. Semenoff to the blue line, and the Canucks Lume throws it in deep, taken by Waters. 2 minutes gone by in the first period. Kings cleared to center ice, but the Canucks take it away. Here's Bure, gets knocked down, gets it to Nedved. Over to Courtnall. Courtnall checked right in the slot and dragged down there as he got checked by Granato. Right point, shot by Diddick is wide. Rebound taken by McSorley. He clears it up into the crowd with 17:42 to go. No score first period.
Bob, in the open, we touched on Pavel Bure. We're going to see a one-on-one. Bure against a great skater, Alex Jidnick, and Jidnick plays it so well. Watch, if you stop it right here, Jidnick is turning and putting Bure to the outside. That's a great play. Now, when Bure tries to cut in, Jidnick, such a great skater, so much balance, he can lean into Bure, and Bure gets a shot off, but you can see how bad it was. It was a backhand shot, and it was off of the angle.
There's Alex Jidnick, the King rookie defenseman from Kiev in the Ukraine. He had the shot from the point early here in this period, but the save was made by Kirk McLean. Face off to the right of Kelly Rudy. We have no score in this first period. Here's Peter Nedved facing off for Vancouver. And off the draw, the puck comes into the corner of the Kings zone. Charlie Huddy is there. He gets help from Jari Kurri. Kurri with a nice pass back to Huddy. Up to center ice, broken up by Diddick. Now the loose puck at center ice taken by Nedved. He cleared it to center to Courtnall, and his pass taken away by Jimmy Carson. Carson gives it back to Daryl Sador. Huddy gets knocked down. Now to center ice. Kings with it. Jimmy Carson shoots, deflected, and he gets knocked down. And an offside called here. Now Sador gets pushed back by Diddick. So Vancouver taking the body continues, and it looks like no secret to what they're trying to do here. They've got to find a way, as you said earlier, Jim, slow down the Kings. The Kings want to get into that skating game with their high-powered offense.
A little bit of hooking, a little bit of holding. That's all it takes throughout the neutral zone. And that last rush, Jimmy Carson had a lot of speed up. You look at Kings head coach Barry Melrose, that's the kind of speed he wants. But credit Vancouver, they did not back off of their blue line in that instance. Even though Carson was coming as fast as he can skate, Gerald Diddick met him right there with a hard check.
Jimmy Carson ready for this face-off now. He's got Warren Reichel with him. The other day, Barry Melrose used 14 different line combinations, and he's got Reichel with a variety of players. but back to break it up is Warren Reichel. Reichel back behind the King net. Now to Yari Curry. Up on the left side to Sador. Sador's pass deflected. And a whistle on the play. 17:02 left to go here in the first period. Former King coach Pat Quinn trying to get his team back even in this series. And as he looks on, we get penalties called here. Dan Marawelli, the referee, calling coincidental minor penalties. Courtnall is going to go for Vancouver. And Charlie Huddy is going to go for the Los Angeles Kings. They've been kind of picking on Charlie early on. All shift. A couple of players were running at Charlie Huddy. And after the play, it was just Courtnall skating down and kind of yapping back at Charlie Huddy, trying to get Huddy off his game. And Huddy's been one of those players who've been so solid. He was outstanding at the beginning of the year, and then everyone felt Charlie Huddy went down a little bit during the Kings slump. But the last 20 games of the year or so, Huddy was outstanding, and he's carried it through here into the playoffs. Faceoff will be outside the blue line of the Kings. Wayne Gretzky is out for the Kings at center. He's got goals and points in 5 straight games. And off the draw here with Murray Craven. Craven draws it back now to Babbage. Babbage's pass deep into the King zone and chased down by Craven on the right side. Craven gives it to Adams. His shot knocked away from in front. Kings with it. Up the center, they got Gretzky. Gretzky peels back at the King blue line. Trying to skate away from Craven. Makes a nice move here. Here's Gretzky from center ice. His shot deflected. Down in deep. Gretzky couldn't get that shot on net. He gets knocked down in front of the net. And the Vancouver Canucks, Craven with it. Up to Adams. Here's Adams. He's got a point in 9 straight. Adams cut off by Blake. Adams still with it. Poke checked away, and the Kings with it. Gretzky on a breakaway. Gretzky all alone, looking over his shoulder. He shoots. Deflected wide, and the net gets dislodged. As Gretzky got the shot, Dana Merzen trying to get back, ran into the net. We'll be back in a moment. To the game, it comes in a 4-on-4 situation. Wayne Gretzky, now he has a breakaway, but he is pressured from behind, Dana Merzen, and he prevents Wayne Gretzky there from coming to his forehand. He keeps Gretzky on the backhand, and when Gretzky dekes, he shoots the puck wide right off the side of the net. We're still scoreless here in the first period. Bob Miller along with Jim Fox. 16:11 to go in the period. Vancouver Canucks, Jyrki Lumme with it. Now up to center ice. Still a 4-on-4 skating situation. Here's Trevor Linden. Linden pokes it in deep. The Kings back to get it. Shitnick's pass around the boards. Lumme trying to hold it in. Lumme pitches in. He's hit hard by Blake. Blake with a hard check on Lumme. Now at the left point. Here's Cliff Ronning. Ronning gives it down the left side to Linden. Linden check there. Back to Ronning. Ronning tied up by Shitnick. Ronning bothered all the way to the blue line, but now putting in front. Trevor Linden in front to Lumme. Poke checked away. Kings with it. Back to center ice they come. No score first period. Pass to Yari Curry. Curry shoots. Save made as it dribbled toward the goaltender, and Kirk McLean knocked it down. Here is Ronning giving it up ahead to Dana Merzen. Merzen to Trevor Linden. Back to Ronning. Ronning back to Linden. His pass intercepted by the Kings. Luke Robitaille. Here's Robitaille to center ice. Feeds it on the right side to McSorley. McSorley shoots from there and a save by McLean. Backing into the goalpost. Then he dropped it. And Robitaille had a whack at it, and the Canucks are upset at that. I'm always amazed at why players are upset that an offensive player takes a whack at a puck that's free and not whistled dead yet. And Marty McSorley got a shot in on Doug Lidster at the end of that play. That was away from the referee, Dan Morwelli. He had to concentrate on things happening behind the net. But you're right, Bob. The puck was right at the feet of Kirk McLean. There's Marty McSorley still skating around. Make sure nothing develops on this play. We're not going to get any penalties. Take a look at the Gretzky play again, Bob. I brought it up last game. Talked about pressure 3-on-2s and pressure 2-on-1s. Now this is a breakaway, but you can see Merzen there. He forces Gretzky. So when you have time on a breakaway or a 2-on-1, 3-on-2, then you can be pretty. Then you can set up, you can look around. But Gretzky really had a breakaway if you look at the true definition. But credit Vancouver, never give up on the play. He was looking over his shoulder, I think, to see how close are the players chasing me, and is anybody else there? And it was Alex Zhitnik trying to get up in the play. 10 seconds left in the 4-on-4 skating situation here in the first period with no score. Tony Granato and Mike Donnelly are the two King forwards, and the faceoff is won by Anatoly Semenov. Vancouver with it. Didick moves it to Semenov. Now to center ice to Lidster. Doug Lidster drives it in. Rebound poked into the corner by Kelly Hrudey. We have no score in the first period. Puck is taken now by Pavel Bure, and a full 5-on-5 situation here. Cordonal out of the penalty box, gets it to Bure. Pavel Bure up the middle. Semenoff in front, shoots, blocked, and not cleared. Now Sador gives it to Huddy. He clears it out to center ice. Donnelly chasing Diddick back to the Vancouver line. Now Diddick gets it back in his own zone. Granato with Millen and Donnelly up front for the Kings. Millen with it, gives it back to Waters. Waters gets a check and throws it down into the Vancouver zone. He got checked by Sergio Momesa. Puck taken on the left side by the Kings. Here's a pass in front to Granato, and it goes off his stick and is scooped up by McLean. Corey Millen got it over to Tony Granato, but couldn't get a good shot, and McLean gloved it.
That department, they've been led by Warren Reichel. But Granato, he doesn't want to stop. He wants to get the Vancouver Canucks off their game. And I think even more important, I think Granato wants to get the edge going himself. When he's playing like that, he's more effective.
Those penalties to Cordonal and Huddy that have expired now were both for unsportsmanlike conduct. And the face-off is in the Vancouver zone. Craven against Wayne Gretzky. 14:22 to go in the first period. No score, and off the draw, Gretzky throws it back behind the net, taken there by Babbage. Now the Canucks move it up to center ice, and a two-line pass called against Vancouver. Warren Reichel and Babbage in a collision back in the Vancouver zone. Kings lead the series 2-1. The Kings have won 5 of their last 6 playoff games. And the Kings have already set a club record for goals scored in a playoff year with 48. The old record was 46 goals in the playoffs in 1991. So the Kings already have a club record in goals scored. They're the highest scoring team still left in the playoffs with 48 goals. Vancouver, 33 goals. They are 5th in playoff scoring in the NHL. Now here's Tim Hunter, taken away by Gretzky. Gretzky, left side to Reichel. Reichel gets knocked down by Babbage. Penalty coming up against Vancouver. And the whistle blows, and the Kings will go on the power play. Tripping against Dave Babbage. Warren Reichel made a little move on him and got tripped by Babbage. And now the Kings have to get this power play going.
Not only a little bit of hard work from Warren Reichel, a little bit of skill. That turn in play right there, pulling it back towards yourself. That's a difficult maneuver offensively. Takes a lot of hand-eye coordination, good skating skills. Yeah, the only thing that catches Warren Reichel there is the stick of number 44, Dave Babbage. And Babbage pays for it. He goes off for tripping. 6:01 is the time. So the first power play of the game goes to the LA Kings, and Warren Reichel stays right out there.
The Kings are only 2 out of 16 on the power play in this series against Vancouver. And for the playoffs, you see them there 7 of 56 as the puck is cleared out to center ice and all the way down into the Kings zone. Vancouver 8th in penalty killing in the playoffs, and up to center ice. Here's Blake. He gives it to Sandstrom. Thomas Sandstrom. His drive deflected by Linden, and then Blake took Linden out of the play, and the Kings back to get it. Vancouver meeting them right in the neutral zone as Reichel sends it across the line. Here's Trevor Linden, and he slaps it the length of the ice. The Kings have had trouble getting into the zone and getting it set up. Let's see how they try it here. Blake will bring it to center. Still with it across the line. Now he stops. Now he gives it to Gretzky. Gretzky's pass broken up by Merzen, and he clears it. Blake going back with Semenoff right behind him. Blake takes Semenoff out of the play, and the Kings with it now with 1:10 to go in the man advantage. First power play of the game. No score first period. Here's Curry to Reichel. Reichel stopped at center ice. Still with it now. Reichel's pass out of the reach of Gretzky. It comes in deep. Here's Kirk McLean. Leaves it there for Lidster. Lidster drives it around, and Sador can't hold it in. Here's Semenoff against McSorley. Semenoff turns, waits, passes in front, but Bure got checked there by Sador. Now the Kings with it again. Here on the right side, Yari Curry. Curry, top of the slot. Curry still with it. Throws it in deep. Carson got dumped in front of the net. Now the left side, here's Sador. Sador takes a check, gets to Robitaille. Robitaille in front to Curry. Didn't get it. Canucks break it up, and Pavel Bure clears it the length of the ice. 26 seconds left to go in the power play. No score first period. 12:20 to go in the period. Here is Sador. Chased at center ice and checked there by Trevor Linden. Canucks break it up again and drive it at Kelly Rudy. He makes an easy glove save and gives it down to McSorley. Marty's pass to the blue line. Kings with it with 9 seconds to go in the power play. Robitaille tied up. He gets it off on the right side to Granato. Granato knocked down by Merzen. Puck is back behind the Vancouver net. They're going to be back at full strength right now, and they come out with a 3-on-2. across the line. Craven drops it back, and a pass in front by Babbage to Linden is broken up. Kings with it. Here's Robitaille, but it's out of his reach at center ice, and Dana Merzen breaks it up. No score, first period. Kings have outshot the Canucks 5-4. Puck taken by Murray Craven. He sends it into the Kings zone.
Bob, the Kings never had really one chance on that power play to get in the Canucks zone and stand up and set it up. You have to credit the Canucks. They're separating the Kings. There's no support on attack.
Here's Corey Millen. Millen in front, and Granado couldn't get a good shot. He got his stick on it, but was skating to his left, and the pass came back to his right side. Here's Lickster with it now. Sends it into the Kings zone. Back behind the net, Charlie Huddy. Huddy's pass to Donnelly. Donnelly chips it out to center ice. Chased down right in front of the King bench, but broken up there, and Jim Sandlak drives it into the corner. Goes Kelly Rudy. Rudy flips it along the boards. He's got to get back in front of the net. Kings with it. Here is a pass from Huddy to Donnelly. Here's Donnelly with speed. Donnelly against Diddick. Donnelly pulls up, feeds it in front. Taylor with a shot. Save. Score! No goal. They're going to wave it off. No goal. Taylor jammed it in on the second try, but the referee, Dan Maruelli, immediately signaled no goal.
We're going to have to take a look at it. We'll take a break right here, but when we come back, we'll see what happened there. Maruelli was in good position.
We're back live at the Great Western Forum. We're going to look at the goal that has been disallowed. Dave Taylor's goal was disallowed because the whistle had blown. Let's listen to when the whistle blows. That almost looks like it's in just after the whistle, or just before the whistle blew even. Anyway, it's no goal. The whistle had blown. Ruled the referee. Here's Trevor Linden. Shoots, save, Kelly Rudy. And Rudy gets knocked down, and we got a penalty coming up here. It may be against Vancouver, against Sergio Momesso. Yep, he's going to go. And now he butt ends Wayne Gretzky. As he skated by, he gave Gretzky a little shot in the ribs.
Dan Maruelli skating to the penalty box did not see that. I don't think it was a very hard elbow by Momesso. Nonetheless, the referee's supposed to turn around, skate backwards so he can see everything that happens. He missed one there, but he may get some help from his linesman. As I mentioned initially, I don't think Momesso really ran Gretzky. We'll get a look at it.
Now watch here. Right as he skates by Gretzky, right about here.
Well, maybe a little butt end, like you said, Bob. If you extend that end of your stick out the end of your glove, that could be a dangerous situation. As I mentioned, the referee was skating forward to the penalty box, so he couldn't see anything behind him.
And you had it right. They're not supposed to do that. These are veteran referees. You skate backward to the penalty box and keep your eye on what's going on the ice. 10:43 to go in the first period. No score in the game. The Kings with their second power play as Sergio Momesso is in the penalty box for slashing. Face off to the left of Kelly Rudy. So the Kings, Wayne Gretzky has a breakaway but couldn't score with 16-17 to go in this period. Then Taylor has a goal disallowed because the whistle blew with 10:55 left in this first period.
We talked last time the ineffectiveness of the Kings power play. I think they're more effective if you give the puck to one man and he carries it all the way up the ice. The more passes the Kings make, it seems they get in more trouble.
Well, here's Blake, but he gets stopped by Robert Dirk at center ice, and the puck taken by Alan Jitnik. Jitnik over to Conacher. And a two-line pass called against the Kings here, so the faceoff is going to be just inside the King blue line. No score here in the first period. Los Angeles Kings hockey is on the draw with 1:33 to go in the power play. He's got Conacher up on the left side. He gives it to Taylor on the right wing. Here's Taylor. He shoots, save, rebound, left side. Sador with a shot wide. Gretzky shoots, saved by McLean right at the goal line, and he covers up. So the Kings with some chances there, but McLean makes the stop on Gretzky.
Changes on the lineup for the Kings on that power play. Taylor and Granado. Taylor with a shot. Here comes Sador off the boards, rebound to Gretzky. He has a wide open net. Kirk McLean comes back to cover as much as he can. There's the start of the play. Just a shot off the wing, but the rebound comes way out. Gretzky has to be quick and accurate at the same time. Ooh, little look up. Maybe a little prayer from Wayne Gretzky. He thought he had the wide open net.
He can't believe that he didn't put that one in. Now pass up to center ice. Look out here, Pavel Bure on a break. Bure for a short-hander. Shoots, save, Kelly Rudy. Rebound poked knocked away by McSorley, and a penalty coming up. Hooking is the call. The Canucks had 7 short-handed goals against the Kings in the regular season, and Bure had 3. And he had a great chance here.
Speed really working for Pavel Bure. Look at Kelly Rudy. He starts in behind Marty McSorley, but he spots the loose puck first. McSorley's going to get a hooking call. Reaches around the other side. Right into the midsection is the hook. It's not that much of a hook. But I agree with the call because it comes on a scoring chance. A very good scoring chance. And if you limit the shooter in any way, I think a penalty should be called. McSorley tried. Yeah, you see him leaning there. If McSorley can get his hands in closer to Pavel Bure's body, maybe you can look off the penalty. There's Marty in the penalty box. Still 1:09 remaining in the penalty to Sergio Momesso, so we'll skate 4-on-4 right here.
Face off to the right of Kelly Rudy. Vancouver's first power play of the game, and at the blue line, here's Jyrki Lume. Lume chased there and checked at the blue line by Jitnik. Now the puck is taken by Gretzky. He gets it over to Jari Kurri. Kurri pulls up, changes directions, hangs on, gives it to Gretzky. Here's Gretzky. He gives it off on the right side. Blake throws it in, broken up by Jyrki Lume. They had Kurri breaking down the left side for a moment. Now to center ice, it rolls the king line taken away by Jitnik. They had Gretzky stayed onside, but then couldn't reach the puck as it came off the boards. Puck comes up now. I mentioned power play. It's not a power play yet. It's a 4-on-4 situation. Momesso still in the penalty box. Here's Bure. Bure shoots, save Kelly Rudy. Rebound up the middle. Kings with it. 4-on-4, the skating situation. Here is Granato. Granato in front of Donnelly, and he couldn't reach the pass. Puck taken by the Canucks up the center ice. Hard check by Tony Granato. Back behind the play. They've got Murzin in front, and a save by the light went on. The puck went in the net. I think it's a Vancouver goal. Murzin driving for the net. Ran into Rudy, knocked the net loose, but the puck went in, and I think they're going to award the goal to Murzin. It'll be 1-0 Vancouver.
Just at the last second, Dana Murzin gets his stick out. He's sprawling on the ice. He gets the deflection, and there's the puck. It goes in, no doubt about that one, way before the net comes off. So Murzin has to reach for the pass. Not really an outnumbered situation. You see Alex Jitnik draped all over Dana Murzin. In the first game, the game the Canucks won in this series, 3 out of the 5 goals were from defensemen. And right here, Dana Murzin decides to jump up ice, his 3rd goal of the playoffs. That's the Old Spice first goal of the game here at the Great Western Forum. Canucks lead 1-0.
Now the Canucks are going to have a power play right now for 51 seconds. Semenoff and Bure with the assist at 11:09. Puck comes on the right side to Courtnall. In front of Momesso, he couldn't jam it in. Taken by Conacher, who drives it out of the right point. Babbage tried to hold it in, but it jumps out to center, and here's Ronnie. So the Vancouver Canucks score first. There's a shot that hit Conacher and shook him up a little bit, but he's back on his skates and appears to be all right. He blocked the shot at center ice. 26 seconds to go in the power play for the Canucks. Across the line. Here's Jeff Courtnall. He gets it to Cliff Ronnie. Ronnie back to the right point. Babbage shoots. Save Kelly Rudy. Caught it in his midsection, and he hangs on. Vancouver leading 1-0.
I'd like to talk about the Canucks defensemen going on offense in this series. I think when the Canucks move their defensemen into the play, it's only a reaction to what the Kings are doing. If the Kings' 3rd man...
...to the playoffs this year, assisted by Anatoly Semenoff and Pavel Bure at 11:09. 18 seconds left to go in the King penalty to Marty McSorley. And on the face-off here, the puck into the corner. Trevor Linden trying to pick it up. He gets help there. Puck is moved along the boards out to the right point to Diddick with a shot knocked down in front. Back along the boards and clear this time as Mark Hardy drives at the length of the ice, and that's going to kill the penalty. The Kings are back at full strength, trailing 1-0. Here's Ronning. Ronning against Hardy. Ronning pulls it in, and he's checked there by Hardy. We got a penalty, roughing against Mark Hardy. And the Kings will have to kill another penalty.
Creating chances for himself, one-on-one with Mark Hardy. Watch the straight arm from Hardy right there. It knocks the helmet off of Cliff Ronning. The call against Hardy is roughing. One-on-one play. Hardy took the man, took him a little too rough, and he goes to the penalty box.
Vancouver with the power play here with 7:44 to go in the first period. 1-0 Vancouver. Dana Merson getting his third of the playoffs from Semenoff and Bure. Kings have been outshot 9-8. They've got Trevor Linden at center with Bure on the right side and Adams on the left wing for the Canucks. Murray Craven at the left point. There's a loose puck right in the circle and comes out to the right point to Babbage. Babbage now to Bure. Bure gets spun around, but gets the puck back again on the right side. Here's Pavel Bure. He gives it to Adams up the middle. Linden couldn't get a good shot. It's taken away, and the Kings' Marty McSorley comes to center ice. And McSorley shoots it into the Vancouver zone. Minute 38 left to go on the power play. We're in the first period. Bob Miller along with Jim Fox. Nice to have you with us on Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Puck driven down in deep and taken away by Charlie Huddy, and it's tipped up off the stick of Trevor Linden up into the King bench.
Safe play there by Kings veteran to pay the ice for an even strength goal or a shorthanded goal. When you're in power play situations, killing them, if you're on the ice, you do not get the minus. Especially teams not going well for the Kings, but a 5-by-5, 4-on-4, they've been outstanding.
Right here, they got a minute 15 left to kill on this penalty. Puck is in deep in the Kings zone. Trevor Linden trying to dig it out for Vancouver. He's got Greg Adams there, and as Linden gets it, the whistle had blown. So now the faceoff stays in the Kings zone. Jim, what about the tone of this game so far?
Well, I think the Vancouver Canucks set the tone early when they were just holding players up. I didn't see many crashing body checks, although Momesso has thrown a couple. But just holding the Kings up throughout the neutral zone. The Kings have been very successful dumping the puck to open spots, then using their speed to chase it down. Well, they can't do that. As soon as they're dumping it, the Vancouver Canucks are just clutching and grabbing.
Pat Quinn, you see him there, the coach of the Vancouver Canucks, and his assistant coaches spent hours here at the Forum and the other night after the game, looking at tapes, and back early the next morning trying to dissect what the Kings were doing in their attack. Get set for this game. Here is Marty McSorley, but he can't clear. Babbage at the left point, throws it in along the left wing boards. Here's Pavel Bure with it down. Bure back to Babbage at the left point, over to Craven. Craven partially fanned on his shot, gets into Linden. Now Bure checked hard in the corner by Charlie Huddy. Bure reaches out and grabs Huddy. Now Huddy checks him again. Here's Linden with it. Huddy ties him up behind the net. Huddy still with it, and then he's pulled down, and the Kings clear the length of the ice. Good play by Charlie Huddy. Now he's chased by Linden with his stick. As the puck comes over now to Cliff Ronning of Vancouver. Wayne Gretzky on the ice for the Kings, along with Yari Curry up front. 24 seconds left to go in the power play for Vancouver. Curry takes it away. Curry passes back into Tim Waters. Waters in the Kings zone. He slaps it all the way back to the Vancouver zone. 14 seconds left to go. And the Kings take it away. Gretzky with a shot and a save by McLean. Puck comes up on the right side to Courtnall. Courtnall hooks it down the Kings zone. Here is Waters back to get it. He clears it out to Gretzky at center. Out of the penalty box comes Hardy. Gretzky with it across the line. Gretzky waits. Now he shoots. It's deflected up high and on a play. Wayne Gretzky shooting a lot in this game here in the first period. There was a time when he came back that he wasn't shooting very much, and Barry Melrose wanted him to shoot more and talk to him about that.
I think that opens things up for Wayne Gretzky, because a lot of times they back off, and a lot of times he's known mostly for his passing ability. Well, he has 3 shots on goal already tonight, a few of them from long range. The most dangerous one coming off the rebound right off the backboards, and Kirk McLean had to sprawl to make the stop. There's so many facets to his game offensively. He can shoot, he can pass, he can stop it up. That's what makes it difficult on defensemen. They don't know what he's going to do.
Vancouver leads 1-0. Dana Merson scored in a 4-on-4 skating situation with 11:09 of the first period. Merson from Semenoff and Bure. That's the only scoring of the first period so far. The shots on goal are even at 9 apiece. Chased down by Hardy for the Kings at center ice over to Tony Granato. Now pass to the Vancouver line by Corey Millen. Broken up there by Courtnall. Puck is flipped, or not by Courtnall, but flipped in deep as Nedved flipped it in. Now behind the net, things are going to take over. Here is Donnelly on the left side. He throws it up to center ice. Tony Granato chasing it down, but picked up there and cleared by Robert Dirk to the blue line. Taken by Sandlack to Courtnall. Now to Peter Nedved. Nedved tried it between the legs pass, taken away by Corey Millen. Here's Millen, checked at center ice by Courtnall. Kings still have it. Here's Donnelly with it down. Over to Granato. He shoots wide to the right side. Puck is in the corner, and we've got a whistle coming up here, a penalty. Penalty being called by Dan Maruelli, I believe, against Vancouver. We'll be back.
Penalty box here at the Great Western Floor. Jim Sandlak, 6'4", 225 pounds. He goes off for high sticking. So the Kings get a chance here on the power play to tie things up. 4:55 remaining in the first period.
As you can see, the Kings 0 for 2 with 2 shots on the power play in this game. Canucks win the draw, and they will clear it to the blue line. Zhitnik holds it in. He gets it to Robitaille. Here's Robitaille. He's got Gretzky on the far side of the ice. He gives it to Zhitnik. Zhitnik to the right point to Blake. Blake to Gretzky. Gretzky comes back to the right point, feeds it to Blake. Blake over to Zhitnik. Zhitnik shoots, save, rebound, right in front, and almost tipped in by Linden of Vancouver. Kings hold it in at the blue line. Zhitnik. Zhitnik now gives it to Blake. He's got the man on the right side. Shot from there by Sandstrom is deflected, and it is cleared up out of play into the crowd. A minute 25 left to go in this King power play. The Kings are down 1-0. Slutsky will take this draw in the Vancouver zone. 4:20 to go in the first period. Here's Zhitnik with it. Alex Zhitnik. He gets tied up by Murray Craven. Now the puck back to Gretzky. Gretzky shoots, save, rebound, score! Thomas Sandstrom!
Gretzky starts it with that shot. We just finished mentioning it. And now he continues to shoot the puck. Deflection by Luc Robitaille. Goes off the shaft of Robitaille's stick. And the deflection and rebound. Whoa, Thomas Sandstrom doesn't have much room here. Kirk McLean doesn't give up on the play. You see the deflection by Robitaille. Look at the room. There's only a couple of inches. And McLean is just a split second too late with his glove. Gretzky with a shot. Robitaille with the deflection. And a wide open net for just enough time for Thomas Sandstrom.
Wayne Gretzky and Robitaille get the assist. Gretzky with points now in 6 straight games. 15:49 the time of the goal. Power play goal. Sandstrom, his 5th from Gretzky and Robitaille. Puck comes in, and here's a penalty against the Kings as Bure gets dragged down. Hooking the call against Charlie Huddy. So with a game tied at 1, Vancouver goes back on the power play. Sador is going to get it here. There's the Vancouver's Pavel Bure breaking through, and he gets hooked by Sador. So Vancouver goes on the power play. They're 0 for 2 with a man advantage. Pat Conacher out to take the draw with Ronning. Conacher wins the draw to McSorley. Marty's pass was deflected and held in by Ronning. Now Conacher on his knees clears it to center. Nice play. Now Taylor gets checked there, but Dave stays right with it, and he sends it into the Vancouver zone. Great hustle by Conacher, and then Taylor stayed right with the puck. 3:27 to go in the first period. 1-1 the score. Here's Jeff Cordall ahead to Ronning. Ronning left side. Ronning's pass into Dixon Ward. Ward, he's checked by McSorley. Here's Huddy, slaps it around the boards and not out. Held in by Craven at the right point. Now behind the net to Dixon Ward. He gets it back to the left point, taken there by Babbage. Here's Ronning into Ward. Ward shoots, saved by Kelly Rudy. And the Kings with it. Up the center. Here's Jari Kurri with McSorley. Curry still with it. Curry, Vancouver zone, hangs on, throws it in deep. And the Canucks take it away. McSorley runs in front of the net and runs into Courtnall. Then Babbage hits McSorley. Here come the Canucks to the King line. Puck is taken across the line by Murray Craven. Craven throws it down in deep. Here's Waters. He can't get it. Dixon Ward with it. He's checked by McSorley. Now Ronning looking for it. Puck comes out to the blue line. Held in by Craven. Taken away by the Kings. Here's Conacher to center. Conacher's got Taylor with him. Conacher across the line. Conacher right side. Conacher in front. His shot deflected up high. Pat Conacher driving toward the net. 38 seconds to go on the power play for the Canucks, and the fans roaring their approval of the play by Conacher. Now a hard check at center ice by Blake. That should have been interference, and it wasn't called. So Dan Maruelli's missing a lot. He missed one on the Kings there. That should have been interference on the Kings, and it wasn't called. And he's missed a couple on the Vancouver Canucks, too. 2 minutes to go in the first period. 1-1 the score. Here's Pavel Bure. Bure across the line, still with it. Bure at the left side, check there, gets it to Jyrki Lumme. Now they got a man in front, but a pass comes back to Lumme. 3 seconds to go on the power play. Kings are now back at full strength. Gretzky took it away, but it's knocked down by Bure. Now out to center ice. Lidster back to get it. 1:40 to go in the first period. Game tied 1-1. Here's Adams. He gives it now to Bure. Bure, his shot deflected into the corner. Picked up by Robitaille. Adams took it away from him. Now it's broken up, but not cleared. Held in by Lume. Jyrki Lume, right point. Lume moving in. His pass broken up and cleared to center ice. Chased down by Trevor Linden with Millen right behind him, and Corey Millen is taken out of the play by Trevor Linden, and an icing call against the Kings. 1:16 to go in the first period. 1-1 the score. Merzen scored for Vancouver, and Thomas Sandstrom with his 5th of the playoffs on a power play from... Ready on the draw. Both teams are at full strength, and off the face-off, the Kings with it. Here's Robitaille to center. He gets it on the right wing to Granato. Granato throwing down the right wing, trying to get it back to Corey Millen. Millen gets knocked down. No penalty called. Here come the Canucks. Up to center ice. Pass by Tim Hunter. Into the Kings zone with 1 minute to go in the first period. Charlie Huddy with it. He clears it off the boards and out to center. And a penalty here against Gerald Diduck. Diduck, I think, is going to get a high sticking penalty here. And one of the Kings right in front of the bench out of our view is shaken up. Corey Millen, now he's on his feet, checking his jaw, and high sticking is the penalty to Gerald Diduck. Here's Diduck, number 4. Here comes Millen. Look at Diduck's stick right there. No doubt about that penalty. Kings are 1 out of 3 on the power play. And Corey Millen gets a rest over on the bench. 2 minutes, high sticking. So Diduck in the penalty box, and the Kings with a chance to take the lead for the first time today here late in the first period. They've got Thomas Sandstrom on the ice. He's got the King goal on a power play in this game. Wayne Gretzky will be at center with Robitaille on the left side. Blake will play the right point, and Alex Žitnik the left point. There is Thomas Sandstrom. Sandstrom with points in 7 of his last 8 playoff games. And Gretzky wins the draw. Back to Žitnik. Time running out in the first period. Here's Žitnik with 46 seconds left to go in the period. Žitnik to center. Kings with a man advantage. Žitnik left side. Vancouver zone. Žitnik driving behind the net. Still with it. He fanned on his pass. Now he tried to get it again, but it comes out to the right point. Here's Blake. Blake fakes a shot. Moves to his right. Blake now shoots. Hit the side of the net. Rebound to Sandstrom. Sandstrom to Gretzky. Gretzky left side in front of Robitaille, and he fanned on the pass. Gretzky put it right through to Robitaille. Here's Sandstrom with it. 21 seconds to go in the period. Sandstrom to Žitnik. Žitnik left side. He slides it over to Blake. Here's Blake on the power play. Gives it to Gretzky. 14 seconds to go in the period. Blake shoots. Knocked down. Rebound. Sandstrom. Sandstrom with a wraparound. Now his pass in front. Tipped away from Gretzky. 5 seconds to go in the period. Puck comes off the skate of Blake, and time is going to run out in this first period. And that's the end of the first period with the game tied. Merzen for Vancouver, Sandstrom for the Kings, and at the end of one period, it's the Kings 1 and the Vancouver Canucks 1. Coming up, Jim Fox. We're all tied. The Kings 1 and the Vancouver Canucks 1. Well, we've talked about players picking up their level of play here in the playoffs, and one such player is Kings defenseman Rob Blake.
In just his 3rd National Hockey League season, Rob Blake has developed into one of the most premier and sought-after defensemen around. Standing at 6'3", 215 pounds, Blake makes the most of his size by constantly punishing opponents, letting them know there's a price to pay when entering the King zone.
Edit.
Rob Blake, I've mentioned it before, I think is the next elite defenseman in the NHL. He's a big physical man. He's got great skills. He's got to, be more committed to playing every night. That's just with youth. That'll come as he plays more. But he's a great young player, and everyone that talks to us, that's who they want. You just don't find Rob Blakes around anywhere. So we're very happy with Rob Blake's progress.
Coach Melrose has taught me a lot. I never played that physical before. I always had the size and the speed to do so, but a lot of times I just never bothered doing it, and he has certain roles for certain players on the team, and definitely one of my roles is to be aggressive and throw some body checks and clear people out in front.
Blake not only has improved his physical game, but continues to flourish offensively, joining the play at the perfect time. And as a result, the 23-year-old has set personal bests in goals, assists, and points. This is something which should come as no surprise to anyone, especially to Blake, who sets high standards for his performance on a nightly basis.
I set a lot of personal goals. I think every player should, you know. Sure, it's a team game, but you have to have your individual goals to help yourself achieve things. And I mean, I set mine on every 5 games, you know. I want 3 points every 5 games if I can, and you know, things like that are personal goals, and in which if I achieve it, it helps me become a successful year, you know. And I do thrive a lot on individual goals like that. I've had a lot of talks with Coach Melrose through the year, and I have to become a leader more on this team, you know. No longer am I the young defenseman, and I can't make those mistakes that players do. You know, I got to become a steady defenseman and become a leader on this team.
Since 1910, Thompson's has been home to find
6 to the Kings. Now the Kings start the second period with 1:08 left on the power play. This is the penalty to Gerald Diddick, who the right point. Kings on the power play. And the face-off with Craven. Craven wins the draw, and Merzen fires it all the way down the King zone. 1-1 the score. Here's Alec Jidnick with 58 seconds left in the King power play. He gets it over to Rob Blake, but out of Blake's reach, taken away by Greg Adams. Here's Adams. Hook shot by Blake away with a long reach at center ice. Now the loose puck comes to Sandstrom. He gets it to Robitaille. Robitaille to Gretzky. Gretzky's got Sandstrom cutting in. He's got it. Robitaille shoots, and a save in the glove of McLean, but he almost looked like he reached back into the net to glove it. The Kings are arguing. If he reaches back into the net to catch the puck, it's a goal. But the referee says no. Gretzky, I think, is going to say, let's have a replay on that.
And this would fall under the criteria for looking for a replay, whether the puck goes into the net over the goal line. We'll get a look at it. Great passing play. 3-way. Gretzky to Sandstrom. He one touches to Robitaille. Take a look at the glove. That's in the net.
It's in the net.
That's a goal. Don't look at that.
That's a goal.
Don't look at that. It's in the net. It touches the mesh and behind the net. Luc Robitaille immediately points. Here's the best view. Now the puck does have to go all the way over the... Yeah, that puck's in the net.
Oh, it's all the way. There's no doubt about that. Don't tell me they're not going to look at this.
They have to look at it. Now the referee doesn't have to call the replay.
No, the replay
official can't call it himself. And they're going to go look at it right now. So the players don't have to argue with the official on the ice. He does not have to call for it. The man upstairs can look at it by himself.
Jim, write it down. That's a goal. That's in the net. No doubt about it. Here's a great replay. Look at the camera work there. Look at that. It's all the way back. His glove is pushing the mesh out. Right here. Here's another good look.
Yeah.
Right behind the goalpost. The goalpost is blocking his glove. So his glove is in the net. Dave Bushner, our cameraman. Great shot there, Dave.
Another power play goal. There was still 41 seconds remaining on Gerald Diddick's penalty. With that passing play, it started in center ice. You get the puck to the man who can pass the puck the best. That was Wayne Gretzky. But Thomas Sandstrom with just a heads-up pass. He didn't stop that play. If Sandstrom stops the puck, takes a little too much time, Luc Robitaille may not get the time to find the opening. And the puck gets by. The 4th goal of the playoffs for Luc Robitaille. He scores for the 2nd game in a row. Another look at it. Yeah, clear-cut evidence right there. And McLean tries at the last second to pull it out. Luc Robitaille knows it's in. The rest of the Kings do. And finally, they use that technology, which is now available. And the results are positive for the Kings. They lead 2-1.
Now Gretzky leaning over the boards, and Robitaille hollering, it looks like, at Kirk McLean. So they're giving him a little verbal abuse. Maybe he said something to them after the goal was scored. But I thought you could see it with the naked eye. I almost said score, and then, you know, it was so quick when he pulled it out, but it looked like it was back in, and certainly the video replay showed that to be true.
Bob, a lot of the referees don't want to get involved in that situation. Same thing for Morelli there. He wants to keep control on the ice. He doesn't have to make any call. He knows the replay official can't call it by himself.
Kings lead for the first time in the game. 2-1. Here's Sador. He drives it out to center ice. Skids all the way down the Vancouver zone. This is going to be icing if Lidster gets to it, and he will. Lidster touches up, so we're 55 seconds into the second period. The Kings get their second power play goal of the game, and Robitaille with his fourth of the playoffs from Sandstrom and Gretzky. And you mentioned it, beautiful cross-ice passing on that play.
Similar situation right here for the Kings. In the Calgary series, the big guns didn't score early in the series. That's not what's happening here, but the power play isn't scoring. So you would think to yourself, if the Kings power play could get on track, it will have a big effect. And so far tonight, they have 2 power play goals.
You saw that was the 29th playoff goal for Luc Robitaille. He leads the Kings in playoff goal scoring as far as in a puck taken by Wayne Gretzky, and Gretzky will move it up to center ice. And it is taken there by Ronning. Here's Ronning for Vancouver across the line. Hangs on. Now his shot's deflected down into the corner. Picked up there by Sandlack and Momesso, but the net is dislodged. 18:49 to go on the
Sports. Join the play if you can. So much confidence.
Kings have a 2-games-to-1 lead in this series. Puck comes up the center. Here's Donnelly against Mercer. Donnelly, right side, hangs on, gives it to Granato. Can't get a good shot. And the puck taken away by Mercer. He gets it to Lume. Up to center ice. Canucks come back, but Jitnik comes back to take it away. He gets it to Rob Blake. Blake clears it up to center ice. Pavel Bure takes over. He had 3 shots in the first period. So did Gretzky for the Kings. Here's Anatoly Semenov. Kings with a 2-1 lead in this game. Here's Dana Merson. He sends it down in deep in the Kings zone and over to get it Alex Jitnik. Jitnik just eludes a check from Tim Hunter. Hunter was really lining him up. Puck comes out to center ice. Kings could have had a 2-on-1 if they could have caught up to the puck, but Merson took it away. Vancouver might lose their cool here. They're taking the body, yes, but they've given up 2 power play goals already. They can't continue to do that and perhaps take penalties if the Kings get their power play goal.
Tim Hunter, one of the big tough guys with that last check. If there's one thing Hunter has shown, he can play it tough in the regular season. He takes a lot of penalties, but during the playoffs, he really cuts down on his penalty minutes.
Now the Kings can't hold it in the Vancouver zone. Now it's flipped in by Marty McSorley, and back to get it, Robert Dirk. 17:40 left to go in the second period. Bob Miller along with Jim Fox. Kings with a 2-1 lead. Curry's pass out of the reach of Robitaille. Canucks move it to the blue line. Poke checked away by Curry. Taken down by Bure. Bure with a great move. Shoot, save, rebound. He kicked it to the side of the net. Bure with a great move, but then he got stopped, and then he kicked the puck wide to the net. Kings driving all the way down the Vancouver zone. Pavel Bure stepped it up a notch. I'm sure he was talked to, and they said, we need you. We need you skating and making those moves. And boy, did he make a move there. Here's Hardy's pass. Knocked down along the boards. Nedved throws it behind the net. Mark Hardy with a big lost it to Sandlack with a shot knocked away by Rudy. Puck comes over to Sandstrom. Sandstrom, oh, he gets hammered hard along the boards on the right side. In front, here's Courtnall, shoots, knocked down, rebound, score! Peter Nedved ties the game. Sandstrom got hammered along the boards, and the Canucks held the puck in, and the game is tied 2-2.
A man who played a great game in game number 3, Jim Sandlack, his first game in the lineup the other night, his second game tonight. He created some open room down there for Nedved. It was Sandlack going around the ice, all shift, taking bodies. Courtnall picks up the loose puck. The trouble will come on the rebound. It goes off of Rudy, and Sandstrom's in good position, but he couldn't beat Nedved to the loose puck. Look from behind, Kelly Rudy just misses getting control of the stick of Nedved. You go back earlier on the shift, big hit. There's Jim Sandlack. The Canucks are allowed to keep the puck in on that play, and it turns into a goal.
Nedved had 38 goals in the regular season, second on his team in scoring, and that's his first playoff goal. Courtnall and Babbage with the assist at 3:08. So the game is tied 2-2. Canucks drive it across the King line, and it hit Greg Adams, who was offside on the play. 16:30 to go. Second period ice. Game tied 2-2. Kings had a 2-1 lead 27 seconds into the second period, but Peter Nedved has just tied it for Vancouver. Here's Gerald Dinnick for the Canucks up ahead to Murray Craven. Craven chased by Reichel. Now here is Linden. He drives it in, but it's going to be icing if the Kings get to it, and they do. Sador touches it. So the faceoff comes back into the Vancouver zone. Boy, no doubt about the big heavy hit by Sandlak led to that Vancouver goal.
You spotted it a couple of shifts earlier, Bob. As soon as the Kings scored, the Canucks came right back with some physical play. They put the big players on the ice. Tim Hunter, that next shift, followed by that man, Jim Sandlak, the house. This game's with back spasms here in Los Angeles. He's made his presence felt with a lot of hard hitting, and they've been clean hits.
Now on the draw, Vancouver with it in their own zone. Pass by Didick, tipped along the boards, and play continues as Granato backs off and tries to get it, but it comes in deep and taken by Lister. Now to Adams. Adams checked there by Charlie Huddy. Puck comes up to center. Granato with it. He gives it back at the blue line, and a pass now at center ice. Granato tripped, and a penalty against Didick coming up. Tony Granato jumping across the blue line got tripped. And the Kings, with 2 power play goals in the game, go back on the man advantage.
Goals already for the Kings. They get a chance to score their third. Gerald Didick gets caught going the wrong way in the neutral ice zone. And he saw that he was in trouble. He just reached out with his stick, cracked Tony Granato down around the angles. He goes off for tripping. 4:06 the time of that penalty.
Now the Kings with Gretzky, Robitaille, and Sandstrom up front. Kings 2 out of 4 on the power play. This is power play number 5 for them. Here's Robitaille, but it's taken away by Jyrki Lume. Lume spinning away from Robitaille, clears into center ice. Look out for Pavel Bure, number 10. He had a chance on a short-handed goal earlier in the game, and the Kings had to take a penalty to stop him. 2-2 the score, second period, 15:37 to go in the period. Here's Luc Robitaille. Robitaille to the left side, and he gets tripped, and an offside called against Vancouver.
Canucks stacking up at their blue line again. It's been effective. Slowing down the Kings. Have to make sure they stay back in their own zone. But throughout the years, a couple of putting points on the board in the playoffs.
A minute 30 left to go in the King power play. 2-2 the score. Here's Alex Žitnik. Žitnik across the line. Žitnik throws it in deep, and Jyrki Lume there. Žitnik checks in. Here's Sandstrom with it. Over to Gretzky. Gretzky's pass up the middle, but it's intercepted by Semenov. Now coming back to take it away at center ice. Žitnik trying to get it to Robitaille. Broken up again and driven back into the King zone. 5 minutes have gone by here in the second period. 2-2 the score. Here's Rob Blake. Blake on the power play for the Kings. Throws it in behind the net. The goaltender leaves it there for Lidster. He drives it off the glass and back into the King zone. Kelly Rudy gets it to McSorley. He's chased by Greg Adams. McSorley's pass over now to Daryl Sador. Sador giving it to Corey Millen. Here's Millen up the center ice. He's got Granato and Robitaille with him. Millen across the line to Granato. Shoots! Glove save by McLean. And this time he makes sure he doesn't bring that glove back near the goal line, and he hangs on. Face off with 40 seconds left to go on the power play.
Earlier, Bob, I mentioned.
Now the face off in the Vancouver zone. Corey Millen on the draw, and the Kings with it. Sador gets it to McSorley. Here's McSorley, left side. Donnelly with it. He gets it to Millen. Now to McSorley. He's got Sador on the right. Gives it to Sador. Sador back to McSorley. McSorley turns, shoots, knocked down in front. Loose puck cleared. Back into the King zone. 20 seconds left to go on the power play for the Kings. 2-2 the score. This is game 4 of the Smythe Division final playoff series. Kings lead the series 2-1. Donnelly tried to get around Sandlak, but Sandlak got a piece of him and knocked him down. 7 seconds left to go in the King power play. Here's Corey Millen. Millen spins away from Sandlak, and Didick is out of the penalty box. Vancouver is back at full strength. Here's Granato on the right side. Poked away from him. Picked up by Marty McSorley, but he lost it there. Here is Sandlak. Sandlak, his shot deflected in deep by Sador. Sandlak behind the net. Still with it. Sandlak knocked down. Donnelly with it for the Kings. Oh, he just about cleared it up to Carson at center ice, but it's held in by the Canucks. They've got Nedved in front. Can't get it to him. Taken away by the Kings. Here's Granato to Carson. Carson lost it at the blue line, and Granato is knocked down with a high, hard check there from Merzen, and offside is called. So the Canucks are getting the better of the hitting in this game.
They're playing to their strength, and that size and hitting. Tony Granato through the neutral zone. Headbands the puck to Carson, and this is where the trouble develops. You see Donnelly on the far side. He goes offside. Dixon Ward doesn't care. He follows through and finishes his check. A little bit of an elbow there. Not called, but those players are going to play it tough. And that came right after the offside whistle there against the Kings. Dixon Ward on the bench. having a good playoff for a rookie. He doesn't see much ice time, but when he gets out there, he's effective.
He's 6'2", 200. Spent 4 years at the University of North Dakota. Dixon Ward, number 17. Here's Charlie Huddy, chased by Sergio Momesso. Huddy's pass off the boards, cleared out to center ice. 13:05 left to go, second period. Here's Ronning. Ronning still with it. King zone. Ronning to Dirk, and his shot broke his stick. Rudy made the save on the right material coming toward him. It was the puck. The stick blade was there too.
Goaltending's tough enough when you just have to worry about the puck. The last shot, Dirk with the shot. Rudy gets the puck. The stick blade goes off his shoulder. He stops both of them at the same time.
Now Waters can't clear. It's held in by Dirk. Throws it back in deep in the King zone. Here's Trevor Linden. Game tied 2-2, second period. Puck taken by Linden up the middle to Ronning. It went behind him. Ronning gets dumped by Waters. Here's Curry with it. Curry gets held up, and the puck comes to Momesso and out of his reach. Chased down now and cleared by Warren Reichel. Back to get it, Trevor Linden. Now over to Momesso. Momesso hampered by Reichel. Puck taken by Charlie Huddy. Battle away from him by Momesso. He is on the right side. Trevor Linden shoots, and it's deflected up out of play. Linden and Waters up against the boards. 12:19 to go in the second period. Now look at this. Vancouver, every little shot they can take after the whistle, they do.
I think it's been effective here in the second period. Credit the Kings for not getting involved in those altercations. No penalties have developed right there. Waters holding on a little long to Trevor Linden. So gave him a little pat on the back of the helmet. Linden, a big touch down. And they can do it because they have so many big guys.
The Kings have only 2 shots in the second period. One of them went in. It was Robitaille's power play goal. Game is tied 2-2. Taylor trying to clear it out. Jyrki Lume holds it in. Into Pavel Bure. Bure gives it to Simonov. Simonov's pass deflects off Conacher. Conacher knocked down from behind by Hunter, and the puck comes to Gretzky at center ice. Gretzky looking for some help, and he lost the puck to Pavel Bure. Bure to Lume. Nice pass. Here's Lume across the line. He's got Simonov with him. Lume hangs on, still has it. Looks for time, gives it to Bure. Pavel Bure checked by Taylor in the corner, and the puck behind the King net. Rolls out in front, poked back along the boards. Picked up there by the Kings, but not cleared. Held in by Dana Merzen. Pass over to Lume. Lume at the right point. 2-2 the score. Lume's pass behind the net. Picked up there by Hunter. Now Bure. He gets stopped, and the Kings come out with it, and it's cleared by Zhidnik. But boy, that was tough, just getting it out of the Kings zone. And they're going to call icing here as Merzen went back to touch it. 11:23 to go in the second period with the game tied 2-2. Los Angeles.
They have to use their feet. I think for the most part, the Canucks defensemen work very well together as pairs to control speed. But if you take them individually, they're not as fast as a lot of defensemen in the league.
11:23 to go in the second period. 2-2 the score. Face off to the left of Calle Rudy. Jari Kurri on the draw, but the Canucks win the draw. Here's Robert Dirk. Dirk drives it in. Charlie Huddy into the corner. Huddy checked there. Here's Jeff Courtnall. Courtnall moves in, shoots, save Rudy, rebound, knocked away. Courtnall had a lot of room to move in from the left side. Now Sandlak trying to dig it out for Vancouver. He's checked by Charlie Huddy. Puck comes loose to Nedved. Nedved in front of Courtnall. Saved by Rudy. Rebound underneath Rudy somewhere. Now it's loose. Rolls wide of the net. Picked up by Huddy, and he clears it to center ice. The traffic was incredible in front of Calle Rudy that time. Canuck clearing the center, but the Kings are offside. Now they're back onside. Here's a pass to Sandstrom. Sandstrom at center ice. He's got a goal in the game for the Kings. Now to Robitaille. Robitaille checked with it on the boards. Sandstrom comes in. Puck is in the Vancouver zone. Sandstrom gets knocked down. Robitaille tried to dig it out. McSorley's there. Here's Sandstrom poked away from him. Out to center ice and taken there by Sador. Flips it up high into the Vancouver zone. 10:25 to go. Second period. 2-2 the score. Puck is taken by the Canucks and will be brought up to center ice. Here's Robert Dirk. Shoots it down into the King zone. Back behind the net goes Tim Waters. Waters pass around to Donnelly. Donnelly tips it out to center, and back to get it is Gerald Diddick. Diddick's pass broken up by McSorley. McSorley trying to get it over to Granato, but Courtnall comes back. He's checked by Granato. Puck comes ahead now. Dixon Ward, right side, in front, shot, score by Murray Craven. What a goal! Dixon Ward threw it to the left side, and Craven went up high with a shot, and Vancouver leads 3-2. Beautiful goal by Murray Craven.
They take a page out of the Kings book here by driving hard to the net, and this goal comes on transition. Up the ice, it's 2-on-2. McSorley turns and takes Craven down, but you don't control the stick. You don't have your man covered, and Craven just has enough time. It's a hard pass by Dixon Ward right across the goal mouth. That's what the Kings have been doing, driving hard to the net. And the Vancouver Canucks continue their great play here in the second period. The time of possession now becoming a factor. They're spending all the time in the Kings zone. But that last goal came on transition. A little bit of a turnover by the Kings, and all of a sudden the Canucks were coming right back at you.
And Murray Craven gets his third. Dixon Ward with the assist, as well as Gerald Diddick at 10:06. So the Kings have got to regain some momentum here. They're down 3-2. They've been down before the game at 1-0. Then the Kings took a 2-1 lead. Vancouver tied it at 2, and now Murray Craven has put them ahead 3-2. Here is Ronning. Ronning wrapped up at center ice, but he gets it to Sergio Momesso. He slaps it into the Kings zone. Puck comes around on the right side. Canucks with it. Checked by Conacher on Trevor Lindgren. Conacher goes down. Puck comes to the blue line. Here's Taylor. Nice pass. 2-on-1 for the Kings. Here's Blake. Blake with Zhitnik. Blake shoots. Save. Zhitnik couldn't get the rebound. The net is dislodged. 2-on-1 break there, and Zhitnik just couldn't get to the rebound as it came up the middle.
I don't know how many times you're going to see that. Two defensemen in on a 2-on-1. Alex Zhitnik joins Rob Blake. They break up the play at the Kings blue line. Blake decides the safe route, and this is never a bad play. Get a shot on goal. Gerald Diddick, the defenseman, back, and he turns the right way to go after that rebound. Zhitnik's right there. Look at Diddick. He takes the body. He doesn't know if he has time to really take a swipe at that puck. So Diddick takes a safe route out, and it's a smart play by taking Zhitnik. Canucks still lead by 1.
Face off in the Vancouver zone. Corey Millen, but he loses the draw to Semenov. Now to center ice. Here's Pavel Bure to Semenov with Tim Hunter. Semenov across the line, but offside call. Offside against Vancouver with 9:06 to go in the second period. The Canucks with a 3-2 lead. They're trying to tie this series out of Bowling Green University. Corey Millen on the draw with Nedved. Peter Nedved wins the draw. Here is Jyrki Lume flipping it high in the air. Kelly Rudy gloves it, drops it down there, and Zhitnik's pass around the boards, cleared quickly by Granato. Every time a King touches the puck and passes it, he knows he's going to get hit. Vancouver really taking the body here, and as Jim said, wearing down the Kings. 8:45 to go in the second period. Kings are down 3-2. Puck taken by Zhitnik, chased behind the net by Cornall, gets it to Granato. Tony chips it out to center ice, and here's Sandlak. Sandlak eludes a check from Donnelly at center ice, then turns around and says something to Donnelly. Here's Alex Zhitnik. He gets it to Blake. Blake's pass deflected off of the skate of Hunter. Now shot by Sandlak is wide. Rebound out left side to Merzen. Merzen gives it down the left side. Here's a pass in front by Nedved. Broken up. Casey back to center. Working on a 3-on-2. Pass on the right wing. Granato to Blake. Broken up and cleared by Merzen as it hopped over the stick of Blake. Kings have it back in their own zone. Here's Alex Zhitnik. Zhitnik sends it to center ice, and it was deflected, so no icing. In deep is Reichel, but a 2-line pass is called here. Reichel gets hit by Merzen, and they have words. And now Jyrki Lume having a few words there to Thomas Sandstrom. 3-2.
My mother-in-law, Margaret, same hometown, Coniston, Ontario.
They're all tuned in to Prime Ticket back there with the Canucks ahead of the Kings 3-2. As the puck comes out toward Gretzky, tipped away from him, and now taken by the Kings in their own zone. Pass up on the right side to Charlie Huddy. Huddy gets it to Sandstrom. Sandstrom slides it left side and hopped over the stick of Conacher. Conacher back to get it. He gets it to Sador. 7:40 to go. Second period. Kings down by a goal. Sador checked from behind by Tim Hunter. Flips it high in the air. Vancouver zone. Here, Conacher and Sandstrom down the right corner. Sandstrom had it for a moment. He gets checked by Robert Dirk. Gretzky comes in. Here's Conacher behind the net. Threw it out to the right point. Charlie Huddy. Huddy sends it behind the net to Gretzky. Gretzky waits there. Gretzky hangs on. Gretzky still with it. Into the corner. Gretzky checked there. Gets some help from Conacher. He ties up Semenov, but the Canucks clear in the center. Here's Pavel Bure. Bure against Sador, and he just got checked at the blue line by Huddy. Now Bure and Sador battle, and Huddy brings it to center ice. Here is Huddy across the line, shoots, but a penalty coming up here, I think. I think they're going to get both Sador and Bure. That was behind the play, so I didn't see what happened, but your seatbelt's not working tonight. You were on your feet, Jim.
I mentioned heavyweights before. Now watch this left hand by Pavel Bure. Boom, right there. And Daryl Sador is going to go off with him there. Now we're going to get some more penalties. Tim Hunter was discussing something with the referee Marrelli. We saw the initial calls. Now Bure is going to get a roughing call. I don't know what's going to happen to Sador. Perhaps roughing as well. But the players were kind of milling around. Maybe one of those 10-minute misconducts for Tim Hunter. The referees want to keep things clear. And if they don't go
this period, Sador gets 2 for roughing, Bure gets 2 for high sticking, and Tim Hunter gets a 10-minute misconduct for Vancouver.
That may be even more important to the Kings right there. Tim Hunter has been one of those big guys here in the second period who's helped the Canucks take over the game. And they played most of the second period in the Kings zone.
Vancouver leads it 3-2, 6:54 to go, second period. It's a 4-on-4 skating situation here. Across the line, Trevor Linden drops it to Ronning. His shot deflected by Blake. Ronning in deep, fell down, centered it up the middle to Diddick. Diddick shoots, he scores! What a play by Ronning. Falling down, he centered it right up the middle to Gerald Diddick. And Vancouver has their widest lead of the game, 4-2.
Vancouver defensemen starting to score more goals. Gerald Diddick, his third in the playoffs. He joins Dana Merzen, who scored his third. Point coverage important. Sandstrom's back there on his side of the ice. And Gerald Diddick sneaks in behind Wayne Gretzky. Gretzky along the boards, expecting the puck to come around on the hard around. And Wayne is just one step behind, and that was enough for Diddick. You move into perfect scoring area right there. He took his time. He was very patient. It was only a wrist shot, but it came from point-blank range.
Now we're still 4-on-4 here with the Kings down 4-2, second period. Kings have got to regain some momentum. Here's Harry Curry. Curry drops it back to McSorley. McSorley, his pass in deep, taken behind the net there as Robitaille tried to get it, but Ronning tipped it away. Here's Ronning. He was limping leaving the building after the last game, but he's skating all right today. Ronning turns, spins, shoots, glove stopped by Kelly Rudy. 6 minutes to go. We're in the second period. Kings down 4-2. Here's Harry Curry. Curry back to McSorley, but he dragged it behind him offside. Now look out, he gets sandwiched between Linden and Merzen. Now Linden comes barreling in there. Linden with his glove right in the face of Harry Curry. Does the same thing back to him. And again. Face wash. How's that feel, Jim? Hey, still Matt Curry and Linden. 6 minutes exactly to go here in this second period. There's Trevor Linden of Vancouver. He's in his 5th year, 6'4", 205 pounds. He was their #1 pick in 1988. He's going to go to the penalty box. So is Curry. So is McSorley.
Out of this, the Kings will receive the extra penalty.
The Kings and Pavel Bure of Vancouver. So it's still a 4-on-4 situation here. The Kings are down 4-2. And the Kings have had only 3 shots here in this second period. Vancouver has taken over control of the game here in this period, even though they fell behind 2-1, 27 seconds into the period. Craven with a shot. Wide. Rebound. Craven again. Craven left side. Checked by Blake. Blake spins him around. Now in the corner. Adams and Jitnik battle for it. Craven stands back. He digs it out to the blue line. Tipped to center by Sandstrom. Blake to Gretzky. Gretzky in the slot. Turn, shoot, save, rebound. Poked away by Diddick. Gerald Diddick just got to that rebound, but Gretzky's got it again. Now to Jitnik. Here's Alex Jitnik. He's got Blake on the right side. Jitnik still with it. Jitnik at the blue line. Throws it behind the net. McLean with it there. Sandstrom got knocked down by Lidster. Lidster lost his stick. Play continues, and the puck cleared to center ice. Now it's a 5-on-5 situation. Puck is back in the right wing corner. Vancouver zone. Here's Litzler, checked by Donnelly. Puck comes up to center ice. Vancouver with it, taken away by Tony Granato. Granato throws it right back in. Kings are down 4-2. We're in the second period. Here's Donnelly down in the corner with Craven. Craven down on his knees. Donnelly trying to dig it out, and Craven covers it up. Face-off in the Vancouver zone. 4-2 in the Vancouver zone. Kings are down 4-2. Time running out of the second period. Here is Millen, and on the draw, everybody jumped too soon, but they let it go, and here's Bure up the center ice. Pavel Bure crossed the line, but offside. He gave it on the backhand to Jyrki Lume, and Lume was still getting checked after the whistle by Sador as Lume kept going toward the net, and then Lume turned around and whacked Sador. Now he skates by and has a few words with him.
A little chippy right here, getting down near the 120. He played 120 games, Gretzky did with Edmonton. Dave Taylor, there he is, the all-time leader for Kings playoff games played.
Earlier today in St. Louis, Toronto beat the Blues 4-1 to even that series at 2 games apiece. Don't forget we have a 5-ticket sports brief coming up between periods here. Puck is along the boards, and Charlie Huddy gets checked there. The puck comes up to center ice. Kings here are down 4-2. Donnelly gets checked hard by Dixon Ward right in front of the King bench. Here's Pavel Bure. It's tipped away from him, and Jyrki Lume with it. Here's Lume. Stopped the blue line, but he got it to Bure. Bure to Semenov. Semenov backhander saved by Rudy, and a penalty against the Kings. Dixon Ward got held by the Kings' Tony Granato. So Vancouver with a 4-2 lead now will go on the power play.
Little room for Semenov and Bure to skate, and they just wait for Dixon Ward to make his way to the front of the net. There's Semenov, and he knows he has someone going there. Good save by Kelly Rudy. Granato throws Ward down to the ice, and that's the penalty. That pass has to be perfectly timed, and it was right there between Semenov and Ward. But they had so much time to...
Second period. They've held the Kings to only 4 shots in the period. Vancouver's had 12. Ronning facing off against Conacher. Conacher sees something out on the ice. Face off to the right of Kelly Rudy. And on the draw, Conacher wins the face-off. Here's Waters, drives it hard around the boards, and did it come out? No, play continues. Puck was held right on the line. Craven's out of the right point. Kings take it away. Here's Conacher. This time he couldn't clear it either, but it's picked up by the Kings. And now sent all the way down. Here's a penalty against Vancouver coming up. Penalty against the Canucks. They're going to get Jeff Courtnall for hooking. So we're going to have another 4-on-4 situation here.
Talked about momentum throughout this whole second period. Well, here's a bad penalty. Pat Conacher hooked down. Well, Dan Morelli was right there. Didn't look like much of a hook to me. Well, the reason for it being a bad penalty, the Canucks already have the power play. Pat Conacher is about 120 feet away from the Canuck goal, so he's really no danger to score there. 16-16 the time of that penalty. So we'll have another 4-on-4 situation.
4 situation. Sandstrom's up front with him. Here is Zhitnik. Zhitnik stopped at center ice, and he is still being checked by Semenov. Gets it over to Blake. Here's Rob Blake. Blake to the blue line. He's got Sandstrom on his right side. He gives it to Sandstrom to the right point. Sandstrom shoots and a save. Blake gets hauled down by Merzin right in the slot. Puck is picked up by Zhitnik. Zhitnik can't hang on. Bure took it away. Gives it to Jyrki Lume. Lume's pass up to Semenov. Anatoly Semenov cut off right in front of the King bench. Still has it now. Hangs onto it. Here is Semenov across the line. Gives it to Pavel Bure. Bure spinning. Bure gets a pick. Here's Bure still with it. Right side. Still with it. All over him is Zhitnik. And the puck comes to Sandstrom. He clears it to center. Gretzky takes a dive. Didn't draw the penalty. Tried to, but couldn't draw it. It comes out across the blue line. Here's Gretzky with it again. They've forgotten all about that penalty for diving. Here's Blake on the right side. Nice move. Blake in front. Shoots. Saved by McLean. Rebound. Sandstrom tried to throw it in front. Now it comes over to Gretzky. He flips it back in the corner. Blake is injured. He is still in the play. Here's Gretzky. Gretzky right side. Hangs onto it. Throws it in front. Broken up by McLean. And who got knocked down? Sandstrom on the side of the net. Here's Bure with it. 2:20 to go. Second period. Pavel Bure shoots. It hit the goalpost. It was deflected and then hit the goalpost. I think was deflected by McSorley. Back come the Kings. Left side, pass to Gretzky. Gretzky checked by Craven. Robitaille holds it in. He drives it in deep. It's taken by Didick. And now the Kings have a power play, but for only 15 seconds. Puck is taken by Trevor Linden. He throws it in, and back in to get it. Kings within their own zone, get it up ahead to Granato. Granato now to Robitaille. Robitaille lost it at center ice. 4 seconds to go on the power play. Robitaille knocked down. Here's Trevor Linden. Linden's pass. Vancouver's back at full strength. They got a man out of the penalty box. It's picked up now. Here's Courtnall on a break down the middle. Courtnall shoots. Score! Jeff Courtnall makes it 5-2 Vancouver. He came out of the penalty box, got the puck, and cut down the middle, being hampered all the way, but Courtnall makes it 5-2 Canucks. It comes with 1:35 to go in this period. Here's Sador. Lost it at center ice. Now McSorley all over Courtnall, but Courtnall tucks it in behind Kelly Rudy. And a big goal for Vancouver. Craven will get an assist, and Gerald Didick. 18:25, the time of the goal. And the second period, after the Kings took a 2-1 lead, has been all Vancouver. Here's Taylor, right wing, cutting in, shoots, saved by McLean. Rebound, Warren Reichel can't get to it. Ronning takes it away, clears it up to center ice. It's tipped down into the Kings zone. Puck comes along the left side. Now Warren Reichel with it. Reichel up ahead to Taylor. 2-on-2 with Conacher. Gets it to Conacher. Conacher, his shot blocked. Conacher again in front. Loose puck. Reichel can't get to it. Now the whistle blew. The puck went in. No goal. The whistle blew. For the second time in the game, the Kings have put the puck in the net after a whistle blew. And a penalty going to come up here, I believe, with 1:07 to go in this period. The Canucks with 4 goals in the second period. The penalty looks like it's against Robert Dirk of Vancouver. But the Kings upset that they lose a goal on this play. Let's look at it again. Here's Taylor. Now Conacher. Now it's right in front. Here's the penalty, holding, and the puck is loose. The whistle's blown right there, and the Kings have put it in. Taylor had a goal disallowed in the first period when the whistle blew. And now another goal disallowed, and Barry Melrose can't believe it. Dirk gets the penalty for holding. The Kings are down 5-2. And we've got 1:07 to go in the second period. He is not the most popular man in Southern California right now. Only his mother likes him right now. Face-off will be to the left of the goaltender, Kirk McLean. He's been solid for Vancouver in this game. They win the draw, and Merzen clears into center. Kings on the power play, but only 1 minute to go in the second period. The Kings took a 2-1 lead 27 seconds into this period, but since then, the Canucks have scored 4 unanswered goals. Here across the line, pass to Sandstrom. Sandstrom, right side. He's checked out of the corner. Canucks dig it out and clear it again as Jyrki Lumme drives it into the Kings zone. Now here's Rob Blake. Blake for the Kings. Over to Sandstrom. Sandstrom down in deep. Merzen, though, takes over. Gretzky took it away. Gretzky to Robitaille, and he didn't get it. Robitaille right in the slot and didn't get the pass. Blake back at the King line. Now his pass taken away with 20 seconds to go in the second period. Merzen's pass intercepted by Blake. Kings still with the power play. Here's Gretzky. Robitaille jumped over the pass to goaltender McLean, his way out along the boards. Puck comes to the right point to Blake. Left side. Here's Zhitnik, shoots, blocked, rebound in front. Canucks with it. It's cleared, and that's going to do it for this period. That's the end of the second period. A big period for Vancouver. 4 unanswered goals. Nedved, Craven, Didick, and Courtnall. The Kings get 7 shots in the period to 13 for Vancouver. And at the end of 2, the Canucks lead 5-2. Coming up, second period, Vancouver had 13 shots, the Kings 7. Vancouver with 4 more for the game. Scoring opportunities now in favor of Vancouver. Power play, Vancouver has a
maybe wasted. The Canucks in total control here, so the timing's so important on the playoffs. Sometimes it's when you score that power play goal, not how many.
Now the Kings on the power play for 49 seconds here at the start of the third period. Kings down by 3. They got 5 goals in the third period in the last game. 1 into the empty net. They're going to need a big period again here today. Here is Gretzky. Gretzky's pass across the line comes into Dana Merzen. Here's Merzen on the backhand. Zhitnik held it in, but now it's forced over to Linden, and he drives it into the King zone. 26 seconds left to go in the power play. Here is Rob Blake. Blake to Zhitnik. Zhitnik up on the left side to Robitaille. Then Zhitnik gets knocked down. Here's Robitaille. Left side to Sandstrom. Sandstrom back to Robitaille. Shoots. It's deflected wide. He didn't get all of that. He tried a one-timer out to the right point. Here's Rob Blake. 8 seconds to go on the power play. Over to Gretzky. Now to Blake. One-timer. Off the back of Robitaille. Here's Merzen with it. Held in by Blake to Gretzky to Robitaille. Robitaille right side. Power play is over. Here's Gretzky. Out to the left point to Zhitnik. Zhitnik. His shot. Save. Rebound. And it is held by McLean. Right in deep for the rebound was Rob Blake. Some of the Kings looked like they thought it went in. They had their sticks in the air.
I think it was more hope than anything from Luc Robitaille and Thomas Sandstrom. They were hanging around just at the end of this power play. Actually, the Canucks back at full strength. The puck rolls up the arm of Kirk McLean. He holds it underneath his blocker against his pad. And away from the play, Robitaille and Sandstrom had their hands up. Kings have scored 2 goals that haven't counted tonight, but that certainly wasn't one of them.
Now the face-off to the right of McLean. We're early in the third period. The Kings are down 5-2. They lead the series 2-1. Down by 3, I should say, 5-2, and they lead the series 2-1. If the Kings lose, as I mentioned, Vancouver regains the home ice advantage, and the Kings will have to go up and win another one in Vancouver. We'll be there on Tuesday night live at 7:30 on Prime Ticket. Here's Pavel Bure. Sends it down back behind the King net. Here's Marty McSorley over to get it. McSorley with Jimmy Carson, Reichel, and Granato up front. McSorley pokes it ahead, broken up. Here come the Canucks. May have a 2-on-1. Here's Bure to Momesso, and he shot it wide. Puck comes over now to McSorley. 2-on-1. Pavel Bure gave it to Momesso, and he missed the shot. Puck comes out to center ice and into the Vancouver zone. Robert Dirk, he drives it back into the King zone, and here's Sador. 18:22 to go, third period. Hard pass to Reichel at center ice. He didn't get it. Puck comes around the boards and is touched by Vancouver for the icing call. Let's go back and look at that.
2 guys like Bure will hang back near the center line looking for that counterattack.
Now Nedved with Sandlak and Courtnall up front for Vancouver. And off the draw, it's taken by Zhitnik. He clears it out to center, broken up by Gerald Didick. Gerald Diddick's had a good game for Vancouver. They had a goal in that second period. And he also had 2 assists. Here's Conacher, right side, pulls up. His pass right down the middle of Taylor, but Taylor didn't get it. Out to the blue line. Zhitnik shoots. Knocked down by the goaltender McLean, and back come the Canucks to center ice. Jeff Courtnall, left wing side. Courtnall to Sandlak. Shoots. He scores! Sandlak put it up over the arm of Kelly Rudy, and it's a 6-2 lead for Vancouver.
Well, he's been all over the ice tonight, most of the part hitting men, and he's been taking Kings out of the play all night. Finally, it pays off in a goal for Jim Sandlak. This time it's a pretty play. He's the trailer here on a 3-on-3, pulls it in, and then cocks it right back the other way. All in one motion. Nice bit of stick work there by Sandlak. You see him receive the pass and cradle it. Looked like he was going to stick handle it, but he decided to throw the quick wrist shot at Kelly Rudy, and the Canucks lead by 4.
5 unanswered goals for Vancouver. The Kings had a 2-1 lead in this game early in the second period, and now have given up 5 straight goals. Sandlak is first of the playoffs from Courtnall and Lidster at 2:18. Now a shot blocked, Linden's shot, and the Canucks hold it in. Here's Ronning to Linden. He shoots, blocked in front by the Kings' Daryl Sador. Now still a loose puck. Sador, Ronning took it away, his shot blocked. Here's Lume shooting, saved by Kelly Rudy. Puck taken by the Kings, and Corey Millen clears it off the boards all the way down the Vancouver zone. No icing here, the goaltender had to play it. Here's Tony Granato, left wing side. Granato, his pass almost deflected off Lume into the net, but it went wide. Puck picked up now by Trevor Linden. Linden leads Lume up to center ice. Stopped by Sandstrom. Sandstrom poked it away. 16:45 to go. We're in the third period. Kings are offside on the play, but they don't touch it, so play continues. Here is Ronning to center, and he sends it back behind the King net. Charlie Huddy over to get it. Huddy moves it up to center. Here's Reichel. He prides it into Vancouver zone. Kirk McLean cut it off behind the net. He leaves it there for Babbage. Babbage's pass knocked down by Reichel, picked up by Robert Dirk. 6-2 Canucks, third period. Puck comes up to center. Right side, Craven. Craven with Ward. Craven shot saved by Kelly Rudy. Puck taken by McSorley, but Ward intercepts. Ward tried to give it to Sandlak. He didn't get it. Here's Babbage to the right point. He throws it to Craven behind the net. Craven to Ward. He shot it wide. Rebound to Sandlak, and he shot it wide. He had Rudy down and shot it wide to the right. Back come the Kings. Here's Gretzky to center ice. Gretzky flips it down into the Vancouver zone. Gretzky with 2 assists in the game. Puck is picked up by Sandstrom. He's got a goal tonight. Sandstrom's pass along the boards. Reichel gets tied up, and back come the Canucks. Here's Murray Craven to Dixon Ward, and Ward sends it into the Kings zone. Canucks want a line change with 15:37 to go in the third period. Here's Jitnik up to Robitaille. 3-on-3. Robitaille drives it in. Left wing side. Curry going for it. Broken up by Didick. Didick's pass out to center ice. Taken away there by Jitnik. Jitnik to Carson. Carson back over to Curry. Curry across the line. Curry checked there, tried to get it to Robitaille. Now Curry again. Curry in front with Carson, but Curry lost it. Blue line. Jitnik shoots wide. Rebound comes high off the glass, taken by Momesso. Momesso checked in the corner by Robitaille, but the puck is cleared out to center ice. Taken there by Alex Jitnik. 5 minutes have been played here in the third period. Kings are down 6-2. Vancouver's Pavel Bure dropped it to Momesso. He shoots, saved by Rudy. Now Momesso gets knocked down by Rob Blake, and here comes Jitnik to center ice. 3-on-3. Jitnik across the line, dropped it to Curry. Curry shoots up high and off the glass. Here's Robitaille. He's checked on the left side. Kings are getting some chances, but not getting the puck on the net. Here's Curry again, dropped it to Sador. Sador shoots, save. Rebound battled out of midair by Robitaille. Robitaille into the corner to Curry. Curry gets tied up there by Semenov. Now Robitaille's pass, taken away by Jeff Cordnall. Cordnall the center for the Canucks, 3-on-3. Cordnall chased by Huddy. Throws it around the boards with 14:13 to go in the third period. Kings down by 4. Bad pass by Sador. Stolen by Cordnall, and his shot deflected out of play by Charlie Huddy. 6-2, Vancouver leads with about 10 feet inside the blue line where that shot was deflected out of play. Nedved against Conacher. Conacher wins the draw. Kings are down by 4 goals here with 14 minutes to go in the third period. Here's Conacher, steps around Cordnall. Conacher up the middle to Donnelly, back to Conacher, but hopped over his stick. Conacher checked down, Taylor behind the net. Taylor still with it. Taylor on the left wing boards to the blue line, taken there by Hardy with a shot saved by McLean. Puck comes taken by Sandlak of Vancouver. Now to Nedved, now to center ice and broken up by Marty McSorley. McSorley drives it all the way down the Vancouver zone. This is going to be, was going to be icy, but the goaltender had to play it. Now it's picked up by Robert Dirk to Cordnall. He clears it out to center, and back for the Kings is Mark Hardy. 13:27 to go. We're in the third period. Bob Miller along with Jim Fox, and the Kings are down the game. Here's Cordnall. His pass in front. Picked up by Nedved up the middle of Didick to Cordnall, and a save by Kelly Rudy. Puck cleared to Donnelly at center ice. Donnelly's pass, right side to McSorley. McSorley shoots, save in the pass. Rebound, Donnelly with it. Back to McSorley. McSorley throws it into Donnelly. Donnelly couldn't hang on. Taken away by Doug Lidster, and Lidster will clear it out to center ice. 7 minutes gone by, third period. Kings down 6-2. Pass to Donnelly. Donnelly, Vancouver zone, throws it in, save made. Picked up on the left side by Granato. Here's Granado to Žitnik. Žitnik, his shot, wide to the right side. Picked up by Blake, drives it in front. Off the skate of Millen, held in by Granado to Donnelly. Here's Donnelly in the right corner, back to the right point to Blake. Blake shoots, save, rebound up the middle, taken by Ronning, and a penalty against Vancouver. Lidster for interference. Knocked Tony Granado down. Kings go on the power play, but they need 4 goals.
7:26 to the Kings, looking for any opportunity to get back into this game.
Now Kelly Rudy knocks down the long shot, and puck taken by Žitnik. Up ahead, center ice. Here's Jari Kurri over to Gretzky. Gretzky throws it behind the net. Jyrki Lume is there and comes right back to Gretzky. Gretzky hangs on. He's got Žitnik at the left point. He's got Blake. He gives it to Blake. Here's Blake. He shoots wide. Rebound. Gretzky with it again. Back to Blake. Blake at the blue line. Blake shoots. Deflected just wide by Robitaille. Picked up by Trevor Linden, and he clears it back into the King zone. Kelly Rudy out to bat it up to Blake with 1:23 to go in the power play. Now a pass to Gretzky. Comes all the way down the Vancouver zone. Picked up by Dave Babbage. And Babbage will clear it high in the air. Back in the King zone again. 11:45 to go. Third period. If Vancouver wins here, we know one thing for sure. We'll be back here on Thursday night of next week. Here's Žitnik across the line. Got held up on a hook by Dirk. Puck is down in the corner. Now along the boards, Robitaille, but it's dug out and cleared to center ice by Bore. The next game will be Tuesday night in Vancouver. If the Kings lose here, they're going to have to come back and play here on Thursday night before somebody can win it. And if a Game 7 is needed, it's next Saturday in Vancouver. Up the center ice, here's Jari Kurri. Kurri across the line with Carson, gives it to Carson. He shoots, saved by McLean. Carson tried to give it to Robitaille, didn't get it. To the blue line, McSorley, he shoots. Locked in front. 30 seconds left to go in the power play for the Kings. Robitaille sends it behind the net, taken away by Jyrki Lume, and he clears it back into the King zone.
Good job by the Canucks, not only here penalty killing, but even at even strength. They're letting the Kings get some shots on goal, but everything coming from the outside.
Here's Sador. Gets around a check from Merzen. Sador down in the corner. Kings have 10 seconds to go in the power play. Sador digs it out. He gives it to McSorley. Marty shoots, save McLean, and the rebound, Lume with it. And the power play is over right now. Kings are 2 out of 8 on the power play. Here's Lume, but he can't jump around Sador. Kings still down 6-2. Pass over to Sandstrom. Sandstrom shoots, deflected up on a play.
Well, the Kings need some goals here. Well, more jostling. Greg Adams, Thomas Sandstrom. Sandstrom shot deflected high into the...
All been sold for this game. The Kings' 39th sellout and their 30th straight. Here's Gretzky at the right point. Both teams at full strength. Gretzky tried to give it to Conacher. He's taken out of the play by Didick. Kings are down 6-2. 10-10 to go. Third period. Here is Charlie Huddy. Huddy back in his own zone to Gretzky at center. He tipped it, but it went past Conacher. Picked up there by Didick. Didick with a goal and 2 assists in this game. Courtnall with a goal and 2 assists for Vancouver. Here is Taylor. He gets it over to Charlie Huddy. Huddy drives it into the Vancouver zone. 9:49 left to go. Third period. Here's Waters. Waters into Conacher. Conacher behind the net to Taylor. He didn't get the pass. It's held in by Conacher. Now over Conacher on the right side after Waters held it in. Adams knocks Conacher down, and here's Adams to center ice, but he loses it to Charlie Huddy. Taylor was set up right in front and just couldn't get the pass. Here now is Jeff Courtnall from the blue, or Babbage from the blue line, and shot saved by Kelly Rudy. Waters back to get it. 6-2, Vancouver leads. We're in the third period. Pass up to Donnelly. 2-line pass called against the Kings. 9:18 to go here in period number 3.
Game has little to do with the Kings goaltending and a lot to do with the way the Vancouver Canucks like to play hockey. That's a big physical style, and they've controlled from the second period on.
Now here's a pass to Donnelly at center ice, tipped away, and Alec Žitnik back to get it. He's checked by Sandlak. Offside going to be called against Vancouver. So we have 9:05 to go, and now look out, we've got Courtnall and Granado going to both go to the penalty box. They met right in the Kings zone, upset with one another. But you're right, Jim. Vancouver, with the big size that they have, and we mentioned this early in the game, they set the tone. They came out. Every time a King touched a puck, he got whacked, and it has paid off for Vancouver.
I think when both teams play their best, the Kings are going to have a high shooting percentage against the Vancouver Canucks, and that'll be difficult against. Allowed them to take control.
The Kings led on that goal by Robitaille 27 seconds into the second period, and then Vancouver has scored 5 unanswered goals. Here's Zhitnik. He's cut off by Craven. Pass comes up to center ice. It's a 4-on-4 skating situation here as the puck is taken by Jyrki Lumme to Trevor Linden. Linden, right wing, shoots wide to the right side. Rebound off the boards, picked up now by Donnelly. Donnelly gets it over in front of the King bench. Here's Zhitnik. Alex Zhitnik, left side, trying to move in around Lumme. Lumme knocks him down, and the puck taken by Jyrki Lumme, but his pass hits the back of Corey Millen, went right back to Lumme. Lumme to the blue line, drops it to Linden. He shoots, save Kelly Rudy. Puck picked up by the Kings. Here comes Donnelly. 8:18 to go, third period. Kings in trouble tonight. Here is Corey Millen. Millen across the line, broken up there and taken by Lumme. Now Bure back. Don't forget, in the regular season, Vancouver, 6th best defensive team in the NHL. And they were the 4th best offensive team. They were a better offensive team with more goals in the regular season than the Kings had. Now behind the net, taken away there by Jyrki Lumme. Defensively in the regular season, as I mentioned, Vancouver 6th and the Kings 21st.
Well, I think, though, when the Kings are clicking on all 8 cylinders, if they have the offense going, that's the way they're going to be effective. You get the big gunners going, then you have the guys like Warren Reichel chipping in. The offense has to be picked up if the Kings are going to get back into it.
Curry to Robitaille. Robitaille to Curry. Vancouver zone. Curry with a nice move there on Didick. Shoots, and a save by McLean. Robitaille was in front of the net, couldn't get his stick on it. 12 seconds left to go in the 4-on-4 situation. Here's Semenoff to Bure. Shoots wide. Oh, he got all of that and shot it wide to the left side. Now Didick for Vancouver in his own line. Both teams are now back at full strength. Puck comes into the Kings zone, and here's Mark Hardy over to get it. Chased by Semenoff. Hardy's pass taken away. Courtnall shoots wide to the left side. Rebound, Kings with it. Here comes Warren Reichel. He drives it in. Wide of the net. Rebound to Robert Jerk, and he flips it up out of play into the crowd. 6:47 to go in the third period. Vancouver leads by 4. It's to Vancouver with 6:47 to go here in this third period. Playoff game number 4. The Canucks on the verge of tying the series at 2 wins apiece. Gretzky on the draw to the right point to Charlie Huddy. Huddy throws it wide of the net. Rebound comes off the boards. Canucks with it there. And Sandlak clears it to center. Picked up by the Kings. Sador's pass back across the line. Sandlak with it for Vancouver. Now to center ice. On the right wing side, here's Peter Nedved to Jim Sandlak. Left side to Courtnall. Saved by Kelly Rudy. Rudy drops it down and gets it up on the left side to Warren Reichel. Now pass is broken up and taken by Charlie Huddy. Here's Huddy across the line with Reichel headed for the net. Huddy shot, save, rebound right there, and Sandstrom just couldn't get to it. And it's cleared to center. Kings on several occasions in this game have had that same situation. A rebound right there, but they just couldn't get to it. They haven't had many of them, but on a few occasions, they're just out of their reach. Under 6 minutes to go, third period. Warren Reichel drives it down the Vancouver zone. The King goals in this game. Sandstrom is 5th. It came on the power play from Gretzky and Robitaille. That tied the game at 1. And then Robitaille, a power play goal, is 4th of the playoff from Sandstrom and Gretzky 27 seconds into the second period. That gave the Kings a 2-1 lead at that point. But ever since then, Vancouver countered with goals from Nedved, Craven, Didick, Courtnall, and Sandlak for a 6-2 lead for Vancouver. Here's Jyrki Lumme to Adams. His shot deflected up high. Kelly didn't know where that one went. It was deflected over the net into the corner. Craven kicks it down in deep to Adams. Adams leaves it for Dixon Ward. Here's Ward throwing it behind the net, and over to get it, Corey Millen. Millen gets it up ahead to Granato at center ice. Granato tried to get around Merzen, but the puck taken and driven right back in by Dixon Ward. 5 minutes to go, third period. Kings down 6-2. Here is Adams in front to Ronning, poked away by Zhitnik. Now puck taken by Blake. He gets it out to center ice. Ronning's lost his helmet. Now the puck, the pass hit the helmet of Ronning, but is driven in deep by Tim Hunter. Now Kelly Rudy drives it around the boards. Here's Sergio Momesso pitching in. He gets knocked down by Zhitnik. Tim Hunter in the corner to Ronning, and a save by Rudy. And and the puck was right behind him as he turned around, and the Kings cleared it out of the crease. Browning right on the doorstep. Now here's Momesso. He gets knocked down. 4:20 to go, third period. 6-2 Canucks. Hunter gets knocked down by Blake. Browning still playing without his helmet. Loses it to Millen. Millen's pass around the boards, and Conacher forces it out to center ice. Here's Dave Taylor. Taylor checked at center ice by Lidster, and the puck comes up out of play. 4:08 to go, third period. Canucks is going to be at the same spot the Calgary series was. Each team winning and the other team's building in the first couple of games and then splitting here at the Great Western Forum. The Kings then went on to win again for the second time in Calgary and then wrapped it up here. And in 4 minutes, unless they get 4 quick goals, they're going to have to do that. They're going to have to win in Vancouver at least one more time to win the series. It's going to come down to a best 2 out of 3 after today's game. Now at center, here is Nedved. Nedved with Sandlak. Nedved's shot deflected out of play by Tim Waters.
Bob, earlier you mentioned the excellent defensive play by the Vancouver Canucks.
Sandlak has scored here in the third period, his first of the playoffs. Puck comes over now to Greg Adams. Adams for the Canucks. Throws it in deep behind the net. Broken up there, but not cleared out. Here is Jyrki Lumme, taken away by Conacher, but he couldn't force it to center. Now Blake couldn't get it. Canucks will clear it themselves out to center ice as Sandlak tried to pass back to the right point. Puck taken by Babbage with 3:18 to go, third period. Pass on the right wing side. Adams across the line. He gives it to Ronning. Ronning in deep. Stopped by Blake. Blake clears it the length of the ice.
Bob, the Vancouver Canucks very upset. Peter Nedved went off the ice. He was holding one of his arms. Looked like he took a slash, and the Canucks were trying to get attention to the officials to call something.
Now here is Jyrki Lumme in front. Score by Adams. Greg Adams got it right in front of the net and just tipped it by Kelly Rudy. 7-2 Vancouver. 2:55 to go in this game, and it's going to be even at 2 wins apiece.
Adams leads the Canucks in the playoffs with 7 goals. He gets one here, 2:55 remaining. This now puts him into a 10-game point-scoring streak. That also leads the whole entire NHL in the playoffs. Lumme keeping it alive, and only 1 stick handle needed by Adams. He kind of hung in behind everyone until the play developed, and he was in a good spot there to receive the pass from Lumme. So 10 games in a row, Greg Adams has put at least 1 point on the board, and his point tonight comes with a goal.
Lumme and McLean, the goaltender, get the assist at 17:05. It's a power play goal. Canucks are 1 of 5 on the power play. They've got this one well in hand with a 5-goal lead and only 2:39 to go. 6 unanswered goals by the Canucks after the Kings took a 2-1 lead. Now to center ice. Here is Tim Hunter. Hunter gets checked right in front of the King bench by Sador. Now behind the net, Charlie Huddy with a check there on Momesso, who swings at him, and a penalty coming up. Now Sador, and Momesso swings at him with a stick. Momesso's definitely going to get a slashing penalty, but I think we're going to get King penalties here too.
Momesso will probably go right to the dressing room. I think he's going to get the initial call for slashing. He took a swing here at Charlie Huddy. This is not the call. Huddy goes down. Little elbow there by Momesso. Huddy pushes him on the back, and right there is the swing. Does not make contact, but you don't have to. Coming across there is Daryl Sador. He comes to the aid of his defense partner. So Momesso might pick up another one. There's Sador in the penalty box. Well, Momesso goes to the penalty box too. So Momesso gets that slashing call. Sador gets roughing.
So after they lost a game on their home ice, they had to come down here and win a game in Los Angeles. And they played a strong game here. They got the first goal from Dana Merzen to take a 1-0 lead. The Kings tied it on Sandstrom's goal at 1-1. It was 1-1 at the end of 1. Then the Kings with a 2-1 lead early in the second. But then Vancouver scored 4 straight to lead 5-2 at the end of 2, and now they've added 2 here in the third. Sandlak is first and Adams his 7th to lead 7-2. Adams from Lumme and McLean. Here's Marty McSorley across the line. Hook checked off his stick. We have a 4-on-4 skating situation here with only 1:49 left to go in this game. Don't forget, Tuesday night, we'll be on live at 7:30 from Vancouver on Prime Ticket. And this means that there's going to be a game here next Thursday at the Great Western Forum. That'll also be live on Prime Ticket at 7:30. So this series is at least going to go 6 games now. Here's Didick. Strong game from him today, and he sends it easily into the Kings zone. Puck comes over the right side of Tim Hunter. He gets checked by McSorley. Hunter gets spun around. Now he gets checked by Yari Curry. Puck comes in. Here is Kelly Rudy flipping it along the boards over to McSorley, and he knocks down Tim Hunter. Hunter was going to jump in front of him, and McSorley went behind Hunter and pulled him down. .108 to go. I think Hunter's going to get a penalty here too. Maybe he's going to get the only penalty. Well, he cut right in front of McSorley. He went down. And I think the only penalty here is going to go to Tim Hunter. And the Canucks couldn't believe it. High sticking is the call here. So Hunter cut in front of McSorley and had his stick up high. Let's look at it again. Here comes Hunter. Well, his stick is up high, and then McSorley grabs his stick. I didn't think Hunter touched McSorley with the stick when he went by, and then Marty got his hand on the stick of Hunter and pulled it over toward him, and the penalty is called against Tim Hunter. Hunter can smile about it now. There's only 1:08 to go in the game. Canucks have a 5-goal lead. Wayne Gretzky out to take the draw. He's assisted on both King goals in this game. So Wayne Gretzky now with a point in 6 straight games. But his goal scoring streak may come to an end. He had goals in 5 straight. 54 seconds left to go in the game. Here comes Žitnik. Žitnik across the line to Gretzky. Gretzky still with it. Gives it right side to Blake. Blake shoots, blocked right back to the blue line and sent to center ice by Greg Adams. Žitnik takes over and gives it to Blake. Here's Blake across the line. Gives it to Gretzky. 30 seconds to go in the game. Gretzky to Blake. Blake hanging on. Gives it to Gretzky. Back to Blake. He shoots. Save off the blocker of McLean. 20 seconds left to go in this game as the puck comes all the way down to the Kings zone. Now the Kings have a 5-on-4 advantage here as the puck comes over to Robitaille. His pass broken up. 10 seconds left in the game. Lidster looks at the scoreboard, flips it into the Kings zone. 5 seconds left. Strong performance by the Vancouver Canucks, and this game is all over. The Canucks outshoot the Kings 35-31, and they have tied the series at 2 wins apiece as we go back to Vancouver on Tuesday night. And now we will definitely be back here at the Great Western Forum next Thursday night for Game 6. The Canucks win it 7-2 over the Kings. In the third period, Vancouver outshot the Kings 11 shots apiece in the third period. Kirk McLean gets the victory. He is now 6-4 this playoff season. Kelly Rudy gets the loss, and his record goes to 3-3. So Vancouver, Gerald Didick, the Gatorade player of the game. He had a goal and 2 assists. Didick scored his 3rd goal of the playoffs on a 4-on-4 skating situation in the second period off a great pass from Cliff Ronning, who was down on his stomach in the corner. Ronning flipped it up the middle to Didick, and Didick drove it into the net past Kelly Rudy. That came at 13:21 of the second period, and at that point gave Vancouver a 4-2 lead. So Vancouver with 4 unanswered goals in the second period and 2 more in the third beat the Kings here today 7-2. And Gerald Didick, our player of the game, ready to talk with Jim Fox.
Thanks very much, Bob. Gerald, first of all, you've got to talk about the Canucks right from the drop of the puck. A little more physical tonight. I guess that's the way you guys want to play the game against the Kings.
Well, we let them play their game the last 2 games, skating around, wheeling all over the place. That's why Wayne's had such 2 great games. But we want to take the ice away from them, and when you do that, you're going to run into people.
Certainly more physical. I think you have to give a lot of credit The forwards tonight not only slowing down the Kings, but then you have Tim Hunter out there, Momesso. Outstanding game by the house, Jim Sandlak. They were taking the body up ice.
Well, we had all our big guys up front finishing checks, which really slowed down their D carrying the puck up. And when you do that, they can't get the ice the way they were last couple games. Mac played a great game in net tonight, which gave us confidence to move the puck up and be aggressive.
Certainly the defense scoring now for the Vancouver Canucks seems to be a trend. When you guys scored, you win games. You had a goal tonight, 2 assists, Dana Merzen. Part of the game plan?
Well, it's Mother's Day, so I had to get one for Mom.
All right.
But no, we're just trying to jump up the ice where we can. You know, it's like first game. When we're taking their ice away and finishing our checks, the opportunities open up for the defense to move up.
Well, it certainly was a great game for the Vancouver Canucks. Gerald Diddick, the player of the game. Thanks very much for stopping by.
Great, thank you very much.
The Vancouver Canucks tie this series up 2-2, and they go back to Game 5 in Vancouver. But right now, let's go to Bill McDonald for a preview of tonight's press box.